Hey guys, it's Emily again, and this is like I think it's my fourth time trying to film this vlog. The first one, I don't remember. Oh, you could hear the music in the background. The third one, I just couldn't, or the second one, I can't talk today. The second one, I actually couldn't get myself together, and the third one, my dogs kept barking in. So if you hear music or my dogs in this, I really apologize. But today I wanted to tell you guys I went to my my annual exam for the lady doctor, and so I was super nervous. I was texting my friend Jill when I got there. I was like, I know I need to tell them that we're gonna try and have kids and that I'm not taking my birth control, but I was just so nervous to tell them that. I mean, I guess it's kind of like telling anyone, like you're just kind of nervous to share that piece of information. So, like, I'm pretty sure that I was anxious about it because, like, she took my blood pressure and it was a little higher than it usually is. It was 128/78, which isn't bad, but it's normally, I think, like, I would have guessed, like, 118/78 or 118/75 or 118/70, something like that. So it's normally a little bit lower. But so, the tech, I guess, is what you would call it, or the RN, or I don't know what she is, but she was the girl who like weighed me, took like asked any questions about my cycle, and she took my blood pressure and all that. So she was like, so, and you're on birth control, and I was like, actually I stopped. I said I stopped it after my last period, or after, I didn't do the placebo week of my last set of birth control. So it was like 3 weeks ago, even though I'm only on cycle day 15. So, I told her that, and she was like, oh, and I felt so much better after I told her that, because she just like asked me about like what vitamins I was taking, and she said, what I'm taking should be fine as long as they have folic acid. And so I just kind of talked to her a little bit. I got the impression she was pregnant too, but I'm not sure. But so, I did all that, and then she's like, okay, I'm going to take you back to your room now. So I changed. I was super nervous because the first time I went to this doctor's office, it took them like 2 hours to get to me. They had just switched over to electronic medical records, and I think that was really messing them up. So the doctor comes in and she's all like, so no birth control? And I was like, no, I stopped it because I think we're going to try and have kids. We're going to try in like January. And I was like, and Dr. Google told me that sometimes it's a good idea to go ahead and start a couple months early. And she was, to get off your birth control a couple months early. And she was like, oh, well, a lot of people do get pregnant their first cycle. So she's like, normally I just tell my patients to just stop at the cycle before you would like to try. But then she also later in the appointment was kind of like, well, you have been on it since you were like, 16 or 18. So you don't even know at this point whether you have regular cycles. And I was like, that's true. I didn't tell her I'd been doing the OPKs. And I'm pretty sure my cycle is 28 to 30 days. So it's pretty regular. But so... I didn't tell her any of that. But so she told me my prenatals were okay. They are the VitaFusion gummies. I got them at Walmart. I got them at Walmart. And I was worried though because they don't have iron in them. And she said it's not fine right now, or it's not a big deal that they don't have iron in them right now because I'm not actively pregnant. So she didn't really have much to say. It was probably my quickest annual exam ever. She just kind of checked things out. And I guess it was so fast because she didn't have to talk to me about my birth control. I don't know. But so, yeah, that was super helpful. So, I don't know. She just seemed genuinely excited for me. And I was just so worried that she was going to be like, well, did you end up calling, like, the genetic counselor? Did you go in for that? Do you know what you're doing? Do you have enough money? Do you think you're mature enough? Do you think you're smart enough? Do you think you can really raise a human being? Like, I was just so worried she was going to give me like the 3rd degree. And I was like sitting out in the waiting room, and a lot of people, I guess, feel more comfortable bringing their kids to these appointments, which I think is a little weird because I would not want my kid looking at my hoo-ha. But who am I? But so there were a lot of kids out in the waiting room, and I like couldn't even look at them because I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, all these people in here are like thinking that I am not smart enough or rich enough or whatever enough to handle having a child. So I just felt a ton better when I left. So I scheduled an annual exam, and the woman's like, do you have a day or preference or anything? And I was like, nope, not really. Like, obviously it's a year out, I'll work around it. But in my head I was like, I probably, like, maybe next year this time I'll be pregnant, so it won't matter. And I will need to come in and have an annual exam because she'll be looking at that stuff every week. So anyway, I felt so much better once I left there. She didn't really seem to have much to say. She didn't, like, even... She basically... I was like, is there anything else I need to be doing? And she said, maybe you don't smoke. She's like, so that's fine. And she said, maybe cut back on the drinking. And I said... That's not really an issue because normally at the most I have like a glass of wine a month. So that was pretty exciting. Anyway, so she didn't even ask me a bunch of questions. The tech asked me a little bit more, but I can't think of what she might have said or told me. So that was today. And then I have been taking the OPKs. I started trying to take some in the afternoon because a few people, maybe just one person on here, told me that you don't want to use first morning urine, which is so unconventional to me. But she said you should use something like in the afternoon to get a more accurate reading. So Sunday morning I woke up and I finally had like a colored line. Like, because I had had that one last week that like had a faint line, but then they'd been getting lighter and lighter and lighter, like practically not even there. And then Sunday I was like, Sunday was cycle day 13, I guess. And cycle day 13 or 12 because I'm not sure technically when the first day of my period was last cycle because I had a light day in the afternoon, but I can't remember if I put that in my app or if I waited until I had a real period to put it in my app. Don't you hate that? But so, anyway, so on Sunday I woke up and I had a somewhat dark line. And so Sunday afternoon I tested again and it was a little bit darker than Sunday morning, but it still didn't seem as darker than the control line. So yesterday morning, I took it again, and it was really, really dark. So, but it still looked lighter than the control line to me. But then yesterday afternoon, I took it again after work, and it had gotten lighter. And this morning, it was like hardly there at all. So I don't know if I was just being like super, so today's Tuesday, so I would guess that sometime Sunday night into Monday morning was when my LH surge was. So I don't know if I was just like, my urine was a little too diluted or I was just being super like cautious about whether or not I was counting it as a positive OPK. But I mean, obviously if it got darker, I ovulated, even if I didn't see it get as dark as the control line. Because why would I have an LH surge that was still really strong, just not quite strong enough? I don't know. I mean, I guess I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I ovulated because I got a surge. I just didn't think it was ever as dark as the control line, but it was pretty close. I would show you, but I threw them out. So, I think next cycle I'm not going to start testing with the OPKs as early because I think it was some like cycle day 14 when I got my, so Monday, it was either cycle day 13 or 14 that I got my LH surge. So that seems right on track. We'll see when AF comes in a few days, not a few days, like 2 weeks. But so yeah, I think the doctor I saw today was pretty convinced that she'd see me early. I don't know why, but I just kind of got that impression from her. And I was like, she's like, so because where she was telling me, like, you know, you didn't need to get off your birth control quite yet. She was like, but I guess where you were saying January anyway, if it came in the next month or two, it wouldn't be too big of an issue. And I didn't explain my short-term disability because really that's just a benefit. If it happened, we'd deal with it. But I get the impression she's like, I'll be seeing you in a few months. So we'll see. But yeah. That's pretty much all I have to update on. I did feel some like side stitchy cramps yesterday afternoon. I don't know if that's ovulation pain or if it was just completely unrelated. So if you have any idea, just let me know below. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to update on for now. If you have any idea or any ideas on the kind of videos that I could do in the meantime, because it occurred to me, I don't know if I've already said this in this vlog, but it occurred to me that like after this cycle, I don't know what I'm going to talk about for 2 more cycles until we try and conceive. So if you have any ideas, comment below. Otherwise, I'm sure I'll find something to talk to you guys about in a couple weeks. Bye!